Thugs and Harmony, For the Love of Money, instrumental. For the love of money.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler Digi Meach. Happy Monday, Milwaukee. We are in a beautiful American Family Insurance studio in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. Meach, what's the word?
What's the word, Truth Nation? We here. It's Monday.
It felt like Sunday.
I mean,
like I was so behind today.
I told you, I thought I was gonna be super late.
I promise. In every aspect of my life today, I was like running behind, and I hate being late. But it just felt like a Sunday to me. It don't feel like a Monday.
Well, it's Monday though.
It's Monday. Money making Mondays.
How y'all doing, Truth Nation? Tune in with us. Tap in with us. 833-212-1017. Let us know how y'all Monday going.
All right, Meach. What you eat today?
I ain't gonna lie. I had a little quick meal from Pick and Save. Kind of.
Okay.
You know, we was walking through Pick and Save, munching on some stuff.
I'm not mad at that.
Before we got to the line. You know.
What type of meal? What type of meal was that?
Oh, just some chicken, just some, a couple wings, macaroni.
Oh, you have food.
Potatoes, yeah. Just a little, the little Pick and Save.
Yeah. You have food.
Little Pick and Save cafe they got in there.
And you didn't even share.
No, it was just a little, little box, something to snack on.
It's all good.
I'm all right, though. All right, what you eat?
I have pho. I've been good with my diet.
Yeah.
I've been real good. Yesterday, I did Thai. Saturday, I didn't really eat nothing but fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm. They already in the chat. Okay, guys, I like the new look for y'all to
know.
It's
not new. It's just it's just a Monday.
Yeah. It's just a Monday.
No, but what we talking today, Meach? What's the word?
Do young people care about politics?
I like it. I think it's 50-50. No, actually, I think more youth care about politics than what we're used to. They just don't voice it. So working in the school, they talk about politics all the time. We do podcasts as well, and politics is typically the topic of conversation. Mm-hmm. But because they don't have a voice in any aspect of their life, why should they care about politics?
I mean, not mainly kids in school. It could be, just the young generation, not just youth, but,
I think they do.
Do you care?
You asking me?
Yeah, at your age, should you care at your age, or like do
the most
office. People in our age really care?
I'll always care. When I ran for office, one of the biggest accomplishments to me was 80% of my voters had never voted before, which spoke volumes because obviously it's someone that they can relate to, right?
Basically, you influenced them to go vote for the first time.
Exactly. Yep. Outside of that, I have mixed feelings about politics because I feel like it's very important to be educated on politics, not just at a national level, but a local level, because that directly impacts you, right? But I also know from experience and from being on the other side of the fence that people are going to do what they want to do. The systems that are set in place is going to do what it want to do, regardless of. It's just about finding the right person to put in the seat. Not all the time. You get some elected officials who do not conform, but it's primarily about finding someone who's going to conform to whatever the agenda is and then make it appear as if that's not what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually, and I'll say it publicly now, I'm actually relieved that I didn't get elected because I don't want to conform. I want to be elected by the people. I don't want to be elected by this side or this side. And I feel like where I'm at now, I have been elected by the people. Mm-hmm. And that's more important. But again, it matters to me. It matters. I feel like we need to put more attention on the local politics as we do the national politics.
Yeah. Do young people care about it though?
I think they do. I just feel like, because we don't allow them to have a voice in any other aspect of their lives, they're not going to voice their opinions all the time when it comes to politics. They don't get to say so in anything. Now I'm going to speak specifically for the youth in Milwaukee. We've been talking about this all week, right? They don't have a say so in anything. So we can't go to them and be like, oh, you should vote. Now you have a voice. Why I don't have a voice when it comes to anything else? Like, if I was their age in today's society, I'd be like, kick rocks.
I don't think they care.
I'm telling you, I hear it firsthand.
I mean, they know about politics, but to really, I mean, they raise questions when we, you know, they I guess they rally up when we rally up and try to get them to rally up, but they still don't know the ins and outs of why
I think
why
some
we
of
politicking.
I think 50% of them do, 50% of them don't, because you got to think too. Schools still have student government. They still have certain class civics.
They know how they know the systems and how it's set up, and probably why we need all three systems, but to really care at the level that politicians is raised, you know, the issues that's being raised now versus what could be raised for them for 10 years or 12 years from now, 2 terms from now.
I feel like they do care. I just feel like they don't voice it enough. I feel like they're only given the platform to voice it when it comes down to election season. But I do, just my experience personally, they do care. I think they're rebels, so they're like,
yeah, I mean,
it is what it is.
It's a level of awareness, but I don't think they know. Like, I think they know that 8 years from now, when they, you know, a 10-year-old or 12-year-old, when they able to vote, like the issues we're raising now, like will they be even caring to vote? Like, would a vote even matter in 10 years?
I mean, the way politics is being ran now, almost like a dictatorship, I'm not sure. You know, like, at what point does the representation shows? Meaning the person who runs this country shows that the youth voice matters.
Right.
You know? But again, I do think that they do care. I just feel like they care about politics. I feel like they understand politics, but I feel like they don't care to voice or show support when it comes to politics. Yeah. That's the difference to me.
Who got more influence on you on today? You politician, influencers, artists, or athletes?
Influencers and artists. I don't even believe that athletes have influence on the
LeBron James can't get nobody to do nothing
at all. Remember when, like, music and like entertainment and sports collided? Yeah. It was like you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Now I feel like the influencers, as far as content creators and social media, as well as entertainment, has drowned out any other arena.
Yeah, I think the athletes don't stand up for nothing for real. They probably do a little interview, or they might
look
say
how they dress.
They might say it ain't right. It ain't that they dress like that.
No.
It's just more so like I'm not finna lose my bag over saying over some stuff that is not even in my
spineless.
That's not even in my realm. I'm on the floor.
When you look back in history, you can look at the entertainment industry, comedians, from artists like James Brown to Nipsey Russell to, you know, certain athletes who played. There was more during those times who actually stood for something and understood that whether they lose endorsements or not, it was about making a statement for your people. And now the culture and society is primarily based on getting the bag and not letting anything. And the reason why I mentioned the way they dress is because, like, you dress how you dress, right? But we all know that there's an agenda when you see those players walking down those tunnels.
How they dress like
how they dress. Well, you can see it.
You know what I mean?
Like, for real, you can see that there's an agenda.
A little flamboyant.
A little.
A
lot. I mean, even outside of it being flamboyant, it's just like, and I don't care to hear like it's today's time. No, there's an agenda.
You saying they need to go WNBA over there?
Like, what? For real?
WNBA.
That if they can't stand up and have a backbone to say that we want to look the way we want to look, they're not going to stand up for anything else.
That's like having. You seen the new Madden cover with the fingernails painted?
Oh my gosh! No, I seen Boosie talking about it.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying it's kind of like that. Like, you know, like my son's not really into gaming like that. Like, you know, Madden sports games right now. So, you know, I don't even have to kind of worry about.
But see, that's what I'm saying. The influence is like there's always an agenda. I mean, there always have been. Let's be clear. There's always been an agenda, but now it's easier because they have the minds of the masses of the youth. And a lot of our youth are not, even when it comes to music, we talked about this before. Some artists don't drink or smoke, but they sing or rap about it.
Yeah.
A lot of our youth don't know the difference. So when they see them wearing the fingernails on the polish on the front cover or Madden or anything else, we're not talking sexuality. We're talking about an agenda to make men look feminine, to feminize young men. That, to me, is the agenda.
To the kids.
To the kids. That's an agenda.
That's the politics to the kids, right?
That's the politics to the kids.
Nothing else.
To make them spineless, black and brown boys.
Because it ain't about them getting money at first. I mean, when we was coming up, it was get a job. It was don't do drugs. It was a lot of different messages. Like right now, it's probably just the only message you hear is, probably. The
spineless they are, the more timid they become, or subjective, rather, they become when it comes to whatever the agenda is in society on our culture overall. And it's hard because that's why I don't like some stuff you have to blame on the parents, but some you can't because we fight in society. The stuff we're up against in today's society, man, it's hard.
I mean, our political message was vote and your vote matters and all that. And I mean,
yeah,
I don't really think my vote made a difference. I'm
gonna be honest with you. Sometimes
it don't feel like it.
Sometimes it don't because okay. For example, I remember my daughter at this time. I want to say she was in middle school. My oldest daughter. This was when Trump first got elected, and Hillary had more votes, but he had more electoral votes. Right? Too confusing for them. But then also, it's like, well, what was the purpose?
Like, who's supposed to be voting at this point?
These are the questions she was asking in middle school. Like, what was the purpose?
Because they know one track. Like, you vote, you win. You get
exactly.
the most votes, you win. Like, anything else past that, you cheating.
Exactly.
To me, like, you don't get the most votes, you just lost.
So, again, and that's why I touched earlier on local politics, because that matters for sure. Who's in your district, who's over your district, state, county, city-wise, that is more impactful as far as voting than nationally. That we have a little bit more control over to a certain extent. We're talking voting in youth. We want to hear from you, 833-212-1017. We got to go to break to pay some bills. Tap in 101.7 The Truth.
Milwaukee business owners, this is your moment. Every Friday at 8 a.m., call in to 101.7 The Truth for What the Business Is. Tell us what your business is, where you're located, and one thing you've learned along the way. What the Business is powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business.
In the chat said we were all young once. We were happy just to be around friends and expected the adults in society to do what was right for us. Now we are the adults, and now the top 1% is ruining it for everyone.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, we putting them in the right position right now by thinking that they're gonna be voting 10 years from now.
I think, if I'm honest, I truly believe that.
Or that's 2 years from now, and then another 4.
I don't believe we're putting them in the right position. The reason why I say that is because we only talk to them about politics when it's election season.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but let me no, that's true. But also, I do got to give a shout out to Alderwoman Cogs, because she has, I want to say it's all the Common Council, but I think she kind of spearheaded where they can have they can be a junior alderwoman or alderman for that district, where they can actually learn what the roles and responsibilities are. So there is situations in Milwaukee or opportunities rather where the youth can get up close and personal when it comes to politics. But again, that's 12 youth out of, hundreds of thousands of youth.
I mean, not saying they got to run the country, but it's much more saying like, because it's an adult topic, but it's something they grow into. So it's like, is we setting them up for the future? That's for the future. Like, because like I said, our messaging was our vote matters. Make sure you vote, register, this and that, get your vote in. What is we gonna tell them the same thing when it's not gonna really? Because I feel like my vote ain't gonna matter next time. At this point, we done did the whole influencers this last election season, and it always have people involved in trying to get the black vote. But then it's like, okay, when you actually get the black vote, it's then not even mattering.
I really believe that we're setting them up for failure in the aspect of we don't educate them enough, and not the bubblegum education, but like how it affects them directly, like being able to go to an executive order on the White House website and say, this impacts you this way, right? There's not enough of that.
It's too deep in the law book for that.
For them. But there is things on the surface that they can understand locally that will, impact them directly.
They know more about the weed law.
Yeah. I mean, but it's still so, and to your point, that's still a way to spark their interest as it pertains to how something affects them when it comes to the law. Because the reason why I say we're setting them up for failure is because we always give them the bubblegum spill as far as why they need to vote. But most importantly, by the time they hit 18, you need to understand that you are an adult. And these things, your parents and your guardians can no longer protect you. So whatever laws go into effect is going to impact you as an adult. That's why it's important. That's the conversation we need to have, whether they want to vote or not, is going to impact them somehow. And I just feel like we don't keep it real with them enough for them to understand that part of it.
Because like you said, we understand like it's kind of moving into a dictatorship.
Yep.
Is that even something you telling your kids?
To be honest with you.
Do they even understand that, to know like, okay, if that's the case, voting is out the window. We got to think to an alternate.
I feel like some parents don't, because they are so caught up in the politics and so embedded in politics, right? That they don't know how to keep it real with their children. Me, I'm a revolutionary. I'm going to keep it real with my children all the time so that we will stay ready and not have to get ready. Mm-hmm. So I tell my children and any youth that I run across the truth all the time.
I keep the idea from the streets and be like, well, politics takes a while to affect the streets.
Yeah.
To where you could really feel like you have no say so. You really feel like you ain't got no input. It's not even affecting you. You almost gain off of the politics in the streets.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that's because the politics is street.
So that's what I'm saying. Like they could want it to keep going. Like, how many Gen Zs wanted Trump to really come back because they thought how much money they made during the pandemic.
The crazy thing is the only difference between politics and the streets is they label the streets as criminal activity and what they do as corruption. And if it's corruption, then that means they get a slap on the wrist versus being an actual criminal. But it's one and the same to me. The politics is is just as gangster as the streets. Mm-hmm. We got some politicians around here. They be acting like they John Gotti or somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they roll. I guess.
That is how they roll.
That's how the politicians roll. So, I mean, but if you really take politicians and put that next to you, like, what does that really look like? That don't even look right.
Yeah.
It don't even look like you can help a kid or help the future in a sense. Like, the stuff we be voting on, we be trying to get done right now.
I think that,
and they can't even do that.
I think that, we have to, and I think Milwaukee actually does a good job, but we know that, Meach, because we're a part of mixing political events with artists to bring awareness more, right? But me personally, I just believe that we have to teach them more about local politics and how that affects them versus just the national politics, because that does have a direct impact. It does. Who's over your district, they decide what licenses, what businesses, you know what I'm saying? Everything. And again, if they're 18 and they want to start a business and they want to have a brick and mortar, they have to go get the city permits. They have to go apply for these licenses. And if they don't have any education on who the person is that runs that district and what type of person, if they're supported, then again, we're setting them up for failure.
But do you think they care?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I do
think they care about all that.
No, they do. Like, from just my personal experience, they do. But they don't care enough to voice it. They don't care enough to voice it because we don't.
Yeah, where's Where do they get their little 15 minutes at?
Right. Only during election season. Then it's like, hey, let's rally up and go to all of the high schools and get the 18-year-olds to vote. Okay, but why can't we allow them to have a voice and dictate anything else? Everybody that's in politics want the youth so bad because their votes matter and they're first-time voters. But how come they can't have a voice in everything else that goes on around here? You know?
I think I was a little bit over 20-something years old when I got my first vote. So, being 18, it really didn't matter because it was in between terms when I was 18.
First time I voted was when Obama was elected.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was still my first time voting, but I was still old enough to understand why I'm voting. Like at 18, I don't think I would have did it.
I wouldn't have at 18, but I was old enough to understand it. But again, I think in our culture, black culture, it's like, who should I vote for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dad, who should I vote for? We have a caller on the line. Miss Sandra, thank you so much for tapping in with us today. How are you?
I am fine. How are you doing?
I am well. Thank you so much.
Yes, I was listening, and I think this city, especially in Central City where the blacks live, we got shafted. We have been voting Democrats, but a lot of times it seems to me they get there, they get paycheck, fringe benefits, everything, and not a lot is being done. Like I lived in this city all my life. I am 77. And I never saw it this routed out. And so something had to happen that in every central city, same thing. So to me, this was a plan no matter how we voted. I mean, if we had voted Republicans love money. So they're conservative. They claim they conserve, but seems to me they're the richest. So I guess by them conserving their money and not having to spend it to help with the tax base to fix the city up, I think there's a lot that's going on, and I see where the kids, because if you live in the area where I live, it's boarded up houses, no houses. So you don't have a voting base. You don't have a community. You don't have anybody to come together with. So to me, this was pre-planned because every city, Chicago, Ohio, Cleveland, and all those cities are routed out. Detroit. Even Barrett said it before he left. He said Milwaukee was going to be a Detroit. To me, he should have never said it because I thought he was a Democrat. He should have said we're going to help fix our cities. Every time we want to fix it, there's no money. Now you're going to fire the teachers. And I retired from Rockwell, Allen Bradley over there. They offshored the jobs. They made sure all the jobs got out of here. A.O. Smith, Alice Chambers, all that stuff. So now they got they got it where it's robotic and they got all this automation. If you got products being made by machines automated, you don't have the people there. So why are the prices getting tripled? If the machines are running the products, stuffing the products in the cartons and all this stuff, it's all machinery. These people are trying to get rid of people. That's why you got diseases coming in. Our health care is being eliminated. It's going to be bad. And this city is never going to be able to fix it up unless the big, what they call the real estate people, because they're coming in and trying to buy up all the property. Mm-hmm. So they got some kind of plan. I want to find out that plan.
Absolutely.
Because
Thank you.
I get sick of the, yes, bye. I just have to say that much. Get off my chest.
No, it's okay, Miss Sandra. Thank you so much for calling. We got to go to break to pay some bills. Do not touch that dial. We are talking youth and politics in the city of Milwaukee and just overall. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, Digi Meach, 101.7 The Truth.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air.
Meach, what's the word?
What's the word? Trying to put something on our story. But we asking, do kids care about politics?
Shout out to the chat. We have, let's see here. HF Care says Cubans has entered the conversation. Radio hosts say America is under a dictatorship. RC Creation said they need to learn accountability long before 18. They can easily be tried as adults. You know what? That's a good point, though. That's a real good point. Before we went to break, Miss Sandra was saying how the condition basically of what's happening in the city of Milwaukee. And then just reading this about how they can be tried as adults, but then also the conversation that we had earlier when we first hopped on. I think another way to get them more involved as far as caring and understanding politics is how it affects them when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Because first and foremost, everything is political. From the name brands you wear, everything. Mm-hmm. But we have so many youth who like fast money, which equates to a lot of the entrepreneurship skill sets. And in order to be an entrepreneur, politics is involved when you're doing business. So I think just coming at them on that level, on something that they can relate to, and then just working their way up as far as obtaining and retaining more information with the politics should be the best route. But I do think that we need to do it more. We need to do it in a different way. It's like the same old song, vote or die, vote this. And yeah, but it's 2026. With this generation, you have to meet them where they are.
I mean, right now, this generation kind of wants something bad to be going on with the government because that's how they eat, in a sense. They like feed.
That's a fact.
They like feed off the government in a different way than, just
they
say
finesse
like
it.
back in 30 years ago when we was growing up, it was more so like, you're on the welfare, you food stamps. Like, they don't eat that way.
Right.
They eat a whole different way.
They scam me.
You know what I mean? So that fast money allows them to not even, to kind of help mess it up.
But what does that mean? So that means that they don't believe in the voting system at all, because if they feel like the country is upside down, that they're going to benefit, right?
Yeah.
And they just don't care. So I mean, they don't care to that extent. But again, I think, and it's not all youth, but for a majority of them, I think that is.
I mean, it's basically saying this is what they growing up in.
Yes.
It's for you to want them to vote.
Yep.
And believe what we believed 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, this is the new age, what's going on.
And when you're looking at it, it's generational voting. So you're not necessarily getting a whole bunch of new, youth who's voting. You're getting the ones who families vote, who tells them who to vote for. You get what I'm saying? So that's why change isn't happening as well, because
if we vote for them, that's who we vote for.
That's
My
who we
mama
voted for.
They voted for
exactly.
I guess that's who we want. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Somebody did the research.
Ken says, look at most Democratic ran cities. What do they have in common? Oppression. That's what they got in common. The Democrat. I'm going to be honest. I don't even like to touch on this as much, but I'm going to speak from my personal experience. This does not mean that I'm with this party or that party, but living in Republican states, I've thrived well. Living in Democratic cities, I have not thrived as much as I could. And I don't know if it has anything to do with because it's Democrat or Republican, but I'm just saying my personal experience. When you live in some Republican states, it has some cons, but for entrepreneurs specifically, I was able to succeed a little bit more.
I think it's more relaxed in Democratic states. Just like people, because they more feeding off the government.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they more relaxed off of that, knowing that if it's Democratic state, they could kind of, get by like that.
Yeah.
It's more of those resources available.
That's a fact.
Stuff like that for them. You know what I mean?
And it's only so much funding.
I wouldn't say that a Republican state is better because you don't get the same treatment.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying is from my personal experience just as an entrepreneur. So if I'm not necessarily how I feel, but just my the business side of it.
Yeah, because most of the time you're probably not going into it looking at it as like you need government assistance or something like that.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just me knowing that how this go where we at least the county, you know what I'm saying? Like in our area, that's just knowing that because more people in our area need the resources.
They do.
And then sometimes they depending on it. They not getting off there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And doing what they got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a us problem too, because we've been in situations already where they get us every time. Oh, we about to run out. It's about to be a government shutdown. Mm-hmm. Then what you gonna do? How you gonna survive? I mean, we gonna always find a way to survive, but I'm just saying there is a lot of people who do not know how to live without the government.
Mm-hmm.
RC Creation says, basically, this generation does not like playing the long game. They prefer checkers, quick solutions. Unfortunately, politics does not work that way. I think that's not even just youth. I think that's everybody. Everybody wants a microwave solution.
I mean, yeah. If you could figure out a way for me to get $1 million right now, you think I'm finna wait on it? No. I'm going for the quick money. That's where we at. You know, you can wait till tomorrow for your money if you want to.
What you said, but I need mine now. Run me my money.
Run me mine.
Run me my money.
I mean, and there's nothing worse than a politician dragging their feet, and that's how it seems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you got to vote on it, well, how fast they supposed to go?
Yeah.
When you supposed to vote on it?
I mean, I put it to you like this. Not all, but 99.9% of elected officials gonna do whatever they want to do.
I mean, that's how it go. To me, like they in a position, not everybody.
And to now I'm gonna straddle the fence a little bit.
We not voting on everything. It's up to the representatives and the people we already voted for.
So when it comes to certain issues, and this is just my experience from working in an elected official's office, when it comes to certain issues, I think people have to also understand that these representatives, some of them have 40,000+ constituents in their district.
And I don't think the kids care about none of that.
No. It's they have over 40,000+ constituents in their district.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that they haven't, and then there's boards and commissions and
levels.
Right. There's multiple people making decisions about different things in different districts.
On one day.
And one day.
We voted one time and trying to take care of, hopefully somebody else can take care of all these issues in 2 years while we gathering up new issues in the process.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
We making new issues out here in the world while we hoping that they take care of the issues we were trying to take care of 2 years ago or 4 years ago.
So to your point earlier, I posed this question. Do you think that we have come to a point in time where we should focus more on teaching the youth about how to survive through politics versus actual voting and why it matters?
Yeah. To survive in actual politics?
Like, for example, when they turn 18, your rights, or knowing that you can be tried as an adult, or how it affects them if they want to be in entrepreneurship, like things of that, like how to maneuver through the laws versus pushing the agenda.
I mean, that's what we doing right now every day. We trying to maneuver through what we went through and what we possibly think they gonna go through.
But they aren't, because they haven't reached adulthood yet.
No, they not, and that's why I think they don't care about none of that. Like they shouldn't. I don't think they should. Right now, like we got to make the best decision for them. Unless you want to give it like we're not, like I said, we're not tackling issues for 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, they talking about going to the moon in a couple of years. They not, everything is microwave right now.
I think the reason why I think that they should care is because it's still going to affect them. Like you cannot care. You can't, like, they have to be prepared.
Okay, and the next, I don't know no other plan out here that we could go past 4 years. We don't have I don't think we got a plan for the kids for 4 years.
No.
Like if a kid going into high school right now, the plan is for them to graduate, like we said. And that's it.
But that's what I'm saying. When you care, so caring about politics as a youth doesn't mean that you have to vote or not vote. It just means that you need to care enough to educate yourself so that you can understand what's going on.
Care about it, that if it's affecting
exactly
their future
right. That's, to me, that's where I'm at. It's like, I can't force you to vote, but you need to understand what's happening, because if you don't think it's going to affect you once your butt get grown, you're going to find out the hard way.
And maybe we should tell them what happened in the last election.
Absolutely.
I mean, not what happened in the election, but how the last election affected what we was doing 4-5 years ago versus why they can't do stuff now.
So do you think that all of the work, and when I say we, I mean me and you, because we have done real life work in the community to get to raise awareness around voting, right? Do you think that that's effective? Do you think bringing artists on these big events and putting on shows to merge politics with entertainment, do you think it's effective?
From my experience, the job I did was to get them in the building. Yeah. Now, the message you trying to get them to, it's up to you to really have the message to move the crowd.
Give me some, Meach. Yeah,
like
that part. It's a relay race.
I could say something to get them in the building. I could move them another way.
But what you gonna do?
I wouldn't say what you said.
Yeah. And then also to that point, I wholeheartily agree with that, because we've seen firsthand how much of the responsibility was placed on us when we were just strictly there for
most of the time,
do the entertainment.
The messaging wasn't right for you to even push it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we could get them in the door. I could get them to press the button on the vote.
Yep.
Not by saying what you want me to say.
Hey, that's right.
That's right. I mean? So some people gonna vote just because they get something free.
That's a fact. And you know what? Like, I truly believe that there should be different events leading up to that one big event to educate them on everything that we're talking about, so that it's not like, oh, we got a little Boosie coming, everybody come out and vote.
These is participation awards.
And then you bring, like, can he even vote? Can he even, not saying it like that, but I'm saying because he is a convicted felon. So again, it's like, what is the agenda? What is the motive? Like, are you just want bodies in the building, or do you really want to teach the youth what's going on?
We there for a while, we need some entertainment.
Yeah,
that's part of events, is having entertainment for the events, food and stuff like that.
Right.
So I want to put too much pressure on that. It just, if you go into an event that you want to go to during this time that's talking about this, and if it's comfortable for you to be at, because you really don't want to be one. You really don't want to be on one side. You're trying to decide.
Yeah,
you're trying to decide. So if I go to a political event, I'm not trying to get swayed away. I'm either trying to enjoy myself or really see what the issues are.
That's a fact.
It's not really about which party.
That's a fact. And to Zach's point, you know, what you want to be why do you want to be entertained instead of informed?
Because it really, this issue of politics is really a real world issue. We just want to drink it away. We should be partying.
Like, we got to deal with this bull crap.
Yeah, while we was out partying, 6 months ago,
they was behind closed doors making decisions.
Doing what they doing right now.
Now, hello. So you understand what I'm saying, right? Like, and this is I agree with everything you're saying, because we both do the same stuff. But
and to a kid, that's the bear. They see it bear like that.
Yes.
They see, oh, y'all just partying.
Yeah.
They over here.
That part.
They over here on this side making moves.
That part. That's what I'm saying. That part. Stay tuned. Do not touch that dial. We got to go to break and pay some bills. It's Jazzy and Meach, 101.7 The Truth.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school.
Downtown Milwaukee. Meach, what we talking?
Do kids care about politics? Do they have political views? Do they have political interests?
Yeah.
Political parties, do you think they got their stuff decided at a young age, under 18?
I don't think that they necessarily. So I'll say this. Let me retract what I was about to say. Again, it goes back to our culture, right? Our culture is, if you don't know who to vote for, you're going to call your mama. Mm-hmm. Your daddy, you going to call somebody. Who should I vote for?
I mean, you might be looking at Boosie page.
You might be looking at Boosie page.
Be like, oh, he voted for
your favorite influencer, right? Because, and then this is the issue too. They don't understand that these people are being paid to tell you to vote for somebody. It may not be their actual belief.
Yeah, I mean, they not even saying,
They're getting paid.
I'll tell you to vote for somebody if I was getting
paid. If you
come
in with a bag for me to support your campaign, like, well,
it's
I
just
can't
a
say
campaign
if you,
at that point.
because we've been offered a bag.
That's what I'm saying. It's
to book people.
It's at that point. I mean, like, we doing it.
And then the crazy thing about it is, I'm gonna get a youth the game. It just is what it is. The crazy thing about it is, a lot of nonprofit organizations that C3 and C4 be like, we're nonpartisan. Lie, lie, lie.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna always have you book entertainment or somebody that's affiliated with the party that they're affiliated with, and then they're going to pay that artist to say, vote for this person, vote for that person. And now the youth is just like, oh, well, if I do vote, I'm going to vote for whoever it is that I look up to. But by the time they get to college, that's when they really, really start to dictate their own like ideas or beliefs. Who is it that I should vote for?
Did Taylor Swift care? Did she pick a side? I don't think she picked a side, but she showed one at no event either.
At all. All.
She probably didn't like Trump, but she ain't pick a side. She ain't doing no event at no Democratic stuff.
That's a fact.
Or they ain't offer.
That's a fact.
Or they ain't have enough money, something.
They probably ain't got enough bag. They ain't got enough bag for her.
But I don't think the kids care. That's my view. I don't think the kids care enough to show y'all that they care. You know what I mean? Like they got political views and political stuff. Like you said, like if they creating this most of them is creating political content to go after the government or whatever. And like I said, they some of them is coming up off of government mishaps or loopholes.
Shout out to the chat. Common Sense Eagle says you absolutely can have some liberal ways of thinking and conservative values, but unfortunately they convince us that we have to choose instead of looking up policy.
Yeah.
Again, they're going to always put distractions, like Meach said earlier. You made a great point. While we out telling everybody to come to a political event to vote with their favorite artist,
they already had this.
They already got their whole executive orders in order. They knew
how they was gonna win.
Exactly.
We was hoping we was gonna win.
Yeah.
And they already knew that they was gonna cheat us out of it.
I'll give them this person, this liquor, this, all of this. It's a distraction. Keep them, if you give them that and just do, and then not to mention, when we did all of this work or when we do this work, what ends up happening? Something happened with the ballots. The number of votes that were in is always a problem.
We might as well start going, like, we might as well just say, forget it. We skipping the whole election process. We won.
We the president.
We won. Now what? Tell us we didn't. Everybody listen to what we talking about.
Because to be quite honest, to your point off air,
that's all we got to do.
We don't have a president.
Because they barely
right now
went through the process themselves. So we might as well just skip the whole season and say we did our thing. We gonna elect. We got the most votes.
We the people.
We've been sent out votes last year. After all,
we the people who select this person to represent us.
We sent out votes last year. Everybody sent their votes back. We good.
We good.
We good.
We good.
We don't even need the other half.
No, for real.
We straight.
We got enough.
We ain't even trying to politic y'all anyway.
For real.
Y'all can do y'all thing.
Yes.
Like, we straight. We want to listen to this.
So let me ask you this, and we want to hear from you too. 833-212-1017. That's 833-212-1017. What one issue politicians never ask young people about? What is something that you feel like goes overlooked when it comes to election time that they don't dive deep into when it comes to catering to the youth?
I mean, they talk about schools. I mean, they try to mention, it could be about, they mention healthcare in an adult way, but it's really about the youth healthcare and, like it's a lot of funds going to the issues of mental health and issues of gun violence and stuff. And it trickles down to the youth. But what is, I don't think we really be raising the issue enough for the future for them.
I don't think so either. And to your comment about schools, even that, I feel like they always give them the cherry on top. It's never the real issues of what's really happening. I just feel like we just don't, like, one of the reasons why I love working with the youth is because they so intelligent and they're a lot smarter than what adults play them to be. And if you have a conversation with them about this, they understand, right?
They know the whole voting process and stuff matter. Like we do. It's just, what efforts are we putting it in to make it matter? You
exactly.
know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you said, like, should a 16-year-old be able to vote?
I mean,
should we go under 18? Like, do we need to go that route? Like,
that could work. It could work. But again, how impactful will it be if none of them is voting?
Yeah, because the election matter to us because we done went through a few of them and understand what matters while we voting. But to help them understand
But that makes sense. If they're old enough to drive, they should be old enough to vote.
I mean, might as well.
If they're old enough to drive, they should be old enough to vote. Biko says elections matter. Yes, indeed, Dr. Biko.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, indeed. They do matter. It's just a matter of
how much they matter to the youth.
That's right.
And because right now they matter to us. Right now, the next one definitely matters.
Yeah.
And that could be a push for the future. But what issue directly affects them 4 years from now that we putting in there?
I think one of the sad things about all of this is when we were growing up, not to say that that's something you would want to do, but there was a possibility for any kid to dream and say, I want to be the president one day. That's like not a reality right now. It hasn't been for quite some time. Like, you don't even hear you saying, hey, I want to be the president one day.
I mean, some of them do because they know how much is needed.
He's made the role so unappealing.
I mean, yeah, to us. I mean, but to youth, it could be different.
I just told you what my 9-year-old said yesterday.
She said she don't want to be in.
I said, Callie, you want to come on the radio and talk? What are you going to talk about? Politics. What about politics? Well, first and foremost, Donald Trump is not making America great again. How do you know this? Right? Because this is her analogy based off of information she's
probably
obtained.
Going off of a fun level. It's
right?
not fun enough.
She's like, and gas prices are high. There's a war. And I'm just like, well, I know I don't have the average 9-year-old, but still, the fact is that someone at her age, this agenda or whatever is being pushed to her too. So they're aware when they're on TikTok, when they're all of that stuff. You know what I mean? All of it. We have a caller, Miss Nikki. Thank you so much for tapping in with us. How you doing today? .7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct. Meach, we are talking youth and politics. We have a caller on the line. Miss Nikki, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Thank you so much for tapping in with us. How are you today?
I am wonderful, and thank you again for taking my call. And I just wanted to kind of add into the conversation that Miss Jazz, you and Meach were having about youth and politics, and I honestly do believe that some of our kids don't care, but they don't care because they haven't been taught or exposed to how to effectively be involved civically, right? I think that we don't do a good enough job with letting our kids know and understand, one, local government and how it impacts them daily. But then, two, we don't necessarily, be proactive with them about getting involved in the political process and understanding what true civic engagement is. Because, and even some adults. So I'm a true believer that the earlier we get students, our kids started, the more engaged they will be, especially, once they turn 18, right? Because I'm an avid civic engagement person. I'm always at the polls. I'm even directing my family, like, okay, we need to vote on this. I need to think about this, right? So some adults don't even know this. But I honestly do believe that we got to get our youth more involved in the political process so they can start being involved in some of the decisions that's being made that's going to impact their lives. We need their voices at the table. And I know that the city has 2 councils that they currently have. I believe one is the Milwaukee Youth Council, and then there's another Emerging Youth Achievement Advisory Council or something like that. And when you look at these councils, and kudos to those students that always hold these positions, a lot of the kids that hold these positions are from the same schools, and we can almost name those schools, right? You got your Ronald Reagan, You got your Rufus King, which is totally fine. Nothing against that. But I want to start seeing some of our babies from Washington High School. I want to start seeing some kids from North Division, right? I want to start seeing some of these other kids that are so disengaged with the process to become more involved. Because, their voices are important as well. And I don't think they get the same opportunities that some of the other students may get because of where they may attend school. I'm just going to be honest about that. So we have to be more involved as a community in making sure that those kids that quote unquote that are out there causing the disruptions and destruction and chaos, right? It's time to get to the heart of the matter and get them at the table so they can speak their voice, right? And put in and we can hear their concerns, and they can help drive some of the things that's impacting them right here in the community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Nikki, for that information and that comment. We were talking earlier about the youth council, but as she was speaking, it prompted me to think of some ideas on how we can get the youth or have them become more engaged as it pertains to politics. And one of them would be board members. Create something where the youth can be board members so that they can actually learn what that looks like. Now we're talking how we can be proactive, to her comment. Create something where they can be a board member.
Yeah, you're gonna have somebody seriously politically fighting that they don't.
Yeah.
Which is like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the fight we up against. Like, just because you come up with something, there's gonna be somebody that literally just says no because they stuck in the way of what they want to happen.
That's a fact. But I think that will be a great start. Again, people find ways to say no because when you look at it, I feel like the generation now I say it all the time, they are rebels. Like some of them are just misguided rebels, but they are truly authentic rebels. And if we raise them up to a certain degree and provide them with certain information, they're really going to dictate what this stuff looks like. And that's going to be a problem for the people that make money off of it.
So in a sense, let me put a crazy analogy on this.
Go ahead.
So basically, a street takeover, a teen takeover, is basically could be Black Panther-ish.
Listen.
Black Panther movement type.
What if all of these teams and the takeovers were strategically done when it comes to politics?
What if they was really getting together?
You understand?
Figuring out their whole move.
Every time we've had amplitude of young Black and brown men and women who gather together in crazy numbers to challenge any policies, what do? They get rid of them. So that's another reason why the youth probably, if they're learning the correct history, which some of them are, that's another reason why they probably don't want to say nothing. Because it's like every time the masses of us get together, you stop in a revolution. They're going to find a way. They're going to continuously find a way because they make too much money off of us living in the conditions that we live in. These kids ain't stupid.
That's how I see it.
We had a screening of Judas and the Black Messiah. Shout out to Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. We had a screening of Judas and the Black Messiah in Milwaukee, right? For 100 Black men, 100 Black youth. Mm-hmm. That is the example to them of what will happen. Not if you just stand up the Black Power movement, because Chairman Fred Sr. was over the real Rainbow Coalition before Jesse Jackson.
At this point, they don't know what else to do. Like we was taught about getting together, stopping. Like you said, this is the revolution. They got to stop it. That's probably what they doing, and everybody's sitting over trying to stop them.
Are you saying the teen takeovers is secret meeting?
It could be the revolution. It could be.
It could be the revolution.
Like you stopping them from you in a sense.
It could.
Yeah, they acting a fool, but at the same time, who they acting a fool against?
It could. To me, I don't. To me, they are rebelling.
Who they acting a fool against?
They're rebelling against.
If black leaders put themselves in front of that, then they going against y'all. But
yeah,
you know who coming to stop that?
They're rebelling.
The police is coming to stop that.
So that's who they are rebelling against. They're rebelling against the government. They're rebelling against the police department. They're rebelling. No, like subconsciously they are.
That's what's going on.
Subconsciously they saying, F all y'all.
Like we couldn't wear hoodies at Tech for a minute. We all got together, did petition, did a protest and everything. Now, if they were trying to stop that's stopping the protest. Yes.
Remember when they used to, back in the day when we were first going to the clubs and they say, no white tee, no, baggy jeans.
We rebelled against that.
Exactly.
What are the rules?
So at what point?
I just seen Tory Lowe did a story about the hoodie at the festival.
So at what point, or have you seen the youth challenge anything?
We don't know.
I haven't seen them challenge that.
Like,
you know why? Because they don't. That part
like,
of it, they don't
know
care.
what they challenging.
Challenging, yeah. No, yeah. You're right. You're right because no one knows.
The surface level is, it's 100 kids in one spot.
Yeah.
Let's get them.
But what's the conversations like?
What really can? How can you really utilize them getting together on their own?
And we're not saying that's what's taking place because I never want to put a target on their back. Let's be clear. We don't know what conversations are being had at the teen takeovers. But as a revolutionary, I would say
I wish that was.
I wish it was strategic, intentional conversations being had with the masses of the youth. So to any of the youth that's listening, when y'all do host these teen takeovers, be more strategic and organized so that there is no issues, right? But also have some intentional conversations about the state that y'all are in.
Yeah, Sherman Park 9150 say, the takeovers is a protest. It's saying our needs are unmet and we are unheard. Accept us, see us.
Yeah. Let's see. The takeovers is their protest. Is saying our needs are unmet and we are unheard. Accept us, see. We need to teach them to care. They can't keep listening to people tell them vote and don't matter or count. So I don't think that it's a matter of them listening to people telling them vote and don't count because they're not around people that's telling them vote and don't count. It's a matter of them understanding how it affects them as an adult. So again, you can tell a youth you need to go vote. And then they say, why? Well, because of this. Everything is going to go over their head. We have to figure out a way to meet the people where they are. We have to figure out a way to get them to understand how it affects them directly. Right. Why? Because a lot of these teens be on business. They standing 10 toes on business, not just as an entrepreneur, but just in life. Yeah, that's their mode.
Yeah, Vaughn in here, he said, everybody has been pretending to care about youth issues and voices while controlling which ones we see and hear from.
Hello.
Exactly.
Hello. Like, come on, man. Make it make sense. For real. They do it when it's beneficial. Okay, we're having an election. We need some kids. Have them come out. We need some youth, da-da-da-da. But at the end of the day, what real conversations are being, and then when you bring the elected officials in, they're so far removed from the demographic that they're catering to that the youth really don't want to listen anyways, because it's like, who is you? Oh, I grew up here. When? I don't never see you around.
Because what's the issues going to be about this time around in the local election? What's the issues about?
The same stuff?
Potholes, grocery stores, money.
I'm waiting on the youth. I'm waiting on an elected official to say, we want to know what's going on with these teen takeovers and the violence and da-da-da. And I'm waiting on the youth to say, well, where the money at? Where the money? We don't got nothing to do. Give us some money. Give us something to do.
And we'll stop, right?
And we'll stop.
I mean,
because all they want is a bag. If you telling me that all a child want is a bag, why aren't you creating situations and opportunities for them to get some money? That's the solution. All they want is some money and something to do. They live a faster life. They like nice stuff, expensive stuff.
They going off of everything that we're
doing. Man, we got a caller on the line. Al, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much for calling in.
I think it's a give and take situation. Number one, with this society, it starts at home with the parents. And some of these parents is not asking their children what they decide to be and pretty much are throwing them to the wolves. Number two, they should be given the same opportunity that they give them white people and them Puerto Ricans on the South Side. Number three, the politicians who use 53206 or 532 anything for a pity party, you already know what they need because I'm pretty sure you have kids by a black woman. So either you're going to stand up or shut up. But it's mighty funny when the kids need something, nobody is there. But then if you try to pour into the kids, you need to let them know this is a give and take situation. I can't speak up for you and you make me look stupid, but I do feel that with the youth, they are not given the same opportunities like they did that teen takeover that had police presence when people got hit by cars and cops laughing and tapping and tap dancing,
taking pictures,
that they should be given on the north side. And some of you black politicians should be speaking up, considering you use the north side for a pity party. But I'm going to leave it there because I can really go with FCC today. But y'all have yourself a good evening, and then have you a shot of scotch and a buzzball.
Thank you so much, Al. We got to go to break to pay.
Share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler, Digi Meach. We are at the American Family Insurance Studio in the heart of beautiful downtown Milwaukee. We are talking youth and politics. Before we jump back into it, I got a huge announcement to make since we're talking youth. I am excited to announce that for those who have been following the We Locked In program with myself, Vaughn, Ray Nitty is also a co-founder. We have officially obtained our own building. Shout out to Arium and the real estate developers in the Bronzeville district. We will be located at 2628 North MLK starting on Juneteenth, which is Clara Muhammad's old high school. So we're going to kick off the lock-in programs starting Juneteenth, but we're able to do trades and day programming as well going forward. So it's no longer just a lock-in every other week during the summertime. We'll be able to have programming year round. So shout out to Karen and Mikey from DCWS. Shout out to Alderwoman Cogs, Arium and Katelyn for supporting us and allowing us to finally, after 4 years, obtain our own space. We do need some partnerships, some sponsorships. You can hit me up or hit Vaughn up. And shout out to all of our locked in babies, man. We're going to have some amazing things happening with them this summer. Yes, indeed. So
congratulations.
Thank you, Meach. Thank you. So speaking of that, we will have cosmetology, we'll have robotics and technology, we'll have carpentry like trades, and we will have a civics class. So now we're talking about these conversations. Anybody who, specializes in politics or anything pertaining to voters' education when it comes to the youth, we do invite you to our facility to hold some classes as you please. So, Meach, we're talking politics, right? Youth politics. We are talking youth politics. And we were saying how a lot of them are misinformed or not informed at all. What if, they begin to host these large events and actually be more strategic when doing so and intentional when it comes to the conversations? But I want to know, Meach, if you or anybody that's listening, tap in 833-212-1017 or the chat. If you were mayor for a day, what would you change?
Just a day.
Just one day. What would you change? If you can go in there and executive order everything, boop, 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 this changing, that changing, without worrying about no vetoes, no nothing. What would you change?
That's what I'm saying. It's only a day. Do it say change?
Let's say that you were mayor for a day.
Somebody be the mayor tomorrow, try to change it back.
And whatever you change, it stays into effect until it's voted out. What would you change? That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it's only a day.
That's a loaded question.
We gotta get this done today.
We gotta get this done today. Right here, right now.
Dang, if I was mayor, I mean,
man,
I don't know. That's a lot. That's one. I mean, just one decision, or you just saying just change this, change that, change this, change that.
No, it don't matter.
Oh, it could be a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it don't matter.
That's even
not
harder.
One thing, but just one day. If you got one day just to go in and do,
Oh, kids in charge. Let's see what
Come
y'all.
on
Let's
now.
see how y'all feel.
Yeah,
kids in charge.
Roles reverse.
All day.
Kids
in
youth.
charge. They signing vetoes.
So 18 through 21 will be elected officials.
Your baby is signing stuff if she wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, adults been running this country for how long?
Still can't get it right.
Yeah, I mean.
We got a caller on the line. Brandon, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you so much for tapping in. How are you?
All right, not bad. Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. I remember I did a project when I was in college a couple of years ago, and there was like a young kid that was like in Congress or like he represented a district, like 18 years old. I forget his name.
Katelyn
I was
Haywood.
wondering if like, I don't know if he was brought up to, but has he ever like kind of tried to reach out to the youth that you know about since kind of like in that age?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was just curious about that.
Shout out to Katelyn too, because he's actually running for state again, and he's 27 now. But yes, he was a huge youth advocate.
Yeah, he's right. Making an impact.
Right, because I wouldn't think anybody that young would actually, be like pursuing office. I think it was like 18 or something.
Yeah.
So that was, I just wanted to touch on that. Yeah, I appreciate y'all time.
Absolutely, thank you so much, Brandon. And to Brandon's point, this is where the lineage come in at, because his father, Katelyn Haywood, did a great job at saying, and I don't know his mother, but I'm sure his mother as well, just his family. Hey, this is what I want to do. This is what K2 says, and then he has the support, to back him to do it. Mm-hmm. We have another caller on the line. Kathy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much for calling in, Miss Kathy. You wanted to make a statement about if you were mayor for a day.
And if it stays that way till election time, I would significantly, by half price, lower the property taxes on everybody. So this way, the parents will have some money. Whoever lives in a house, the youth, there'll be more money to spend on a family unit or whatever they need to do to get repairs, home done, or vacation. Taxes, property taxes, cut in half. That's for businesses and for people who own their home or paying off their mortgage. Cut in half. If your tax is $1,800, you're only paying $9 until that next election year, like you said. That'll benefit youth and everybody because you have more money to spend for your family.
Absolutely.
Cut the taxes, property taxes.
Thank you so much, Miss Kathy. And to your point and to Meach's point, we've seen white man run this country for how many years, and it's just not working.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Biko, yes, it's free chicken for that whole day. While we go sit back and let the kids make the decision. We eat free chicken.
We eat free chicken.
Let
them dictate it. I agree with the lowering property taxes. I'm not even going to say mayor. I'm going to take it up a notch, right? If I was president or any position,
you said mayor.
Where I know, but I gotta say,
if I was president, it would be the whole
any position that this can happen, anything that God gave us, I wouldn't charge.
Yeah, no money.
No money.
Yeah, don't.
I wouldn't charge. Water.
Straight barter. Give me this. Give me that.
Hello. Exactly.
How I used to be.
That part.
You ain't got enough to train.
Free daycare. Making sure that there's maternal and paternal leave, and health insurance included when you have to go on maternal and paternal leave from your job. Not just 6 weeks out of work, but first 2 years. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of countries. Australia does it. They pay the fathers to go on leave. All of that. But yeah, I just know, based off history, that the youth has always led the revolution. Mm-hmm. And the older we get, they're going to start running. The younger they get. And they're going to be the ones taking care of us. So again, if we don't start pouring into our babies, do you understand? Everyone keeps complaining. But if we don't pour into them, remember that your old ass is going to be sitting up there depending on them to help you and run the world at the same time. Mm-hmm. So you might want to be mindful of that, and instead of complaining, actually do something about their well-being and the education that they receive so that they can run this world the way that they need to when we're not able to.
Mm-hmm. Z, you want to go ahead and read off what the poll said?
Do kids under 18 care about politics? 100% said nope.
And again, it just depends, because the youth that I serve and work with, they care. They just don't have, I feel like they don't care enough. They care, but they don't care to voice it. They don't care to voice it, because who's going to listen?
That's why they don't care.
Who's going to listen?
It's a surface level conversation. I mean, surface level question, though, because it's like, why would they, based on what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they see it going on. They see the effects. Like you said, they care because they know the gas price is high, because that's what the adults complaining about. They know what the adults complaining about.
Yes.
But they don't know what's affecting them
directly
in the politics to care enough.
So maybe the adults, we need to have more conversations around our children instead of playing, we're all my scamming. Y'all want to play that around the kids, but ain't nobody talking about how these politics going to affect these kids.
Yeah, but it's like, what do we know that'll affect them?
I mean, we know enough.
If the gas price is so high, it won't take you nowhere.
We know enough to prepare them. We have a caller on the line. Lisa, are you there? Lisa?
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for calling in. How are you?
Awesome. I did not know that about Australia doing the 2-year thing for their children, or for the parents, I should say.
And they have free health care. If I'm not mistaken, they have free health care as well. There's multiple countries that offer an extended amount of time for both the mother and the father whenever the mother is about to have a child.
Now, I did do the numbers right away when you said that. I think they have 300,000 babies in a year, and then we have 4 million. So I was just wondering if that would hurt us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, would that hurt us to have 4 million parents off of work? Or, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know if 4 million parents will be off work or impregnated at the same time.
No, I see.
Yeah, it's in a year.
Oh, in a year.
Like, you said 2 years, right? You said 2 years?
Correct. So again, this is just what, if I was mayor, what I would want to do. Whatever that looks like, this is just what I feel like we should do. We should have. Based off the conditions in the city of Milwaukee, based off someone who was working while she was pregnant, based off of my personal experiences, this is something that I would love to see. And let me backtrack, because I didn't say mayor. I said if I was president.
That's awesome. I just wanted to, make sure that we know that there are things that we have to do, with those kind of numbers. You know what I mean? I'm thinking.
So what would you do?
$1 million. Oh, I didn't even have this in my head until you put it in there. So I would have to think about it. You know what I mean? I have to think about it. And my gosh, that is, I would love for all of us to be able to do that, right? I think, but there's so many of us. If there's 4 million compared to 300,000, that's what I'm saying, in a year.
Thank you so much for calling in, Lisa.
That's something to think about, though.
It is.
Like, because if you, like she said, like if you land off 4 million, we already had an unemployment rate that's so high.
But she's saying in 1 year, there's no numbers or data that says 4 million people gets pregnant in 1 year.
If we just we hypothetically.
I'm just saying, right? That's what I'm saying.
But she said she did the number, so if that's the number.
This is what I'm saying. I'm telling you what I would do if I was president. I don't know what nobody else going to do. All right? But this what Jazz going to do. You hear me? But this is the problem, though. This is how people throw you off, and it is realistic, but they'll say, oh, the numbers, the this, the that. Well, that's the problem.
How many kids we got?
That's the problem.
How many kids we got that based on the decisions being made that it's affecting? We got way more kids than that.
Be vulnerable and powerful. That taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
.7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct. Meach, is it possible for you to critique, what I want to do if you don't have a plan?
Yes. Yes, I can critique what you got going on.
Even if you don't have your own plan?
If I'm a constituent, yes. I voted for me to say yes. And that's why Bigo said elections matter.
So you probably voted for somebody who don't have a plan either.
I voted for, that's what I think. Like, the way it's going, you vote for people don't nobody got a plan. Nobody got the plan.
Nobody got the plan.
We just voting.
Don't nobody got the plan. Ken says make housing more affordable. Vaughn says I would create a system where folks can earn perks. It's too many people who bust their asses and do tremendous things and never get to own a house, purchase a car, insurance, incentivize being. That is a fact. That is a fact.
You said being 100.
Shout out to Manon. Manon says Sweden has 480 days of leave. Yes, they do. And the crazy thing about it is, it's funny when people try to challenge as if you're not looking up things yourself. Australia. Like it's not it's not relevant. Yes, we have numerous amount of people in America, but again, we're talking about what Jazz would do. This is what Jazz would do. I don't know what nobody else gonna do.
I'm doing what I'm doing despite the consequences.
Hello.
I'm letting the kids run this thing for
guess
a day
what?
Tomorrow. Whoever pick it up will have to fix it.
This is the thought process when we're talking numbers on the other side of the fence. That to me sounds like sacrifice. That's the current administrative and all the other administrations. Okay, with this many people, we can't cater to this many people because it's too much and da 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 da. No, I'm telling you that if that was me, I'm catering to. That's the problem, to everybody, right? Whether it makes sense or to somebody else or not, whether we can do it or not, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and it has to happen. No, what they say, no child left behind.
Yeah, I mean that was a while ago though. I mean, a couple of them got left. That's how
a couple, a lot of them.
I mean, do the numbers if you want to.
Come, hello.
You know what I mean? I know it was something left behind.
That's right.
So,
and we was supposed to be. We were some of them. We just pulled our way back up.
Yeah, I mean it's all good when the message you got pushing to the kids, and they grow up. You know, you get to kind of gloss over the message because they grew up and not cared.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you could push something right now that's not even going to be a factor 3 years from now.
Exactly.
And utilize, you know.
I did the numbers, Meach, and
I'm wrong.
I did the numbers, Meach, and no, but we're talking youth and politics. Do youth even care about politics? And what do we need to do as people and as adults to make sure that we are informing them? 833-212-1017. We want to hear from you. Shout out to the chat. The chat been getting busy.
We booming.
Today.
We popping dubs in the chat. But I think it's do the adults care
that the kids don't care?
Do we care about politics?
I think adults, majority of the adults like to act like they care. To have something, it's good conversation.
I'll be acting.
I'm saying it's good conversation, right?
I'll be acting. I can say that. Like I'll be acting like I care because when it's in front of me, I guess we got to talk about it. You know what I mean? And then, but when it's behind closed doors or when I'm at the crib, I'm trying to figure out my finances and stuff. Ain't no politician doing nothing.
And to your point again, I've seen situations firsthand with politics where they will already have a decision made and then go out to the general public and act like that decision ain't made just so that the general public can feel included.
Yeah.
So again, is that not the same thing that happens during the voting or the elections process? Look how many voting stations and booths and locations that they've gotten rid of. Look how many times every time an election come up, oh, there's something wrong with the ballot or they lost tickets. It's always something to fit their agenda. Yeah, so again, we're not saying that voting doesn't matter. We're just saying we got to call out the truth of why a lot of youth do not care about voting.
Yeah. I mean, as a black man, it's really nowhere in that says that's like I haven't. It's been 20 years of me looking at politics, and it's like I haven't felt the need. And nobody talked about me at all. And
then guess what? By the time someone that they can relate to steps up to the plate, they make an example out of them.
Oh, they trying to seem like Obama was a plant, but it's like at the same time he wasn't even talking about nothing for me.
No, he wasn't.
Basketball,
and if you
maybe.
So I'm gonna say this.
When I was 24, 25, Obama didn't say nothing.
Obama
he didn't say nothing for me.
His If you go back and read a lot of the executive orders that he did while he was in office, it did not have anything to do with supporting black people. Not to mention he labeled Assata Shakur as the #1 terrorist in the entire world under his administration. So we gonna keep it all the way funky.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, on the surface, though, as a black man, ain't nobody said nothing. Other issues, women issues, this and that, youth issues, violence issues, health issues. Ain't no issue for no black man came up in none of this.
I think Ken said it earlier. Left wing, right wing, same chicken. Both parties is the same. They just operating under different umbrellas, but they all in agreement with each other.
I don't know.
Vaughn said people care about having an opinion. They don't care enough to do anything. Too much critiquing and not enough participation. Exactly. Again, it's good barbershop talk. It's good talk when you want to see your grandparents. It's all
right now.
Yeah, it's all talk though. But no, that's not it. Because we actually be out here doing the work.
We doing a different work. I'm not doing no politicians' work.
We're doing the work.
I'm not trying to tell the kid to vote for this or
no,
that side.
No.
I'm not doing that work.
It's not. We're talking about voting in general.
I mean, I do that work. That's adults. I'm out here for the youth. It's nothing about politics.
What I'm saying is we still do the work. What I mean by that is when we do the work to make sure that whoever is paying attention, they understand that voting is involved. Whoever you vote for is up to you. Whether or not you vote is up to you, but we're still a part of it.
Yeah, because right now we're trying to get the politicians to understand these kids to make it better for them. So that's the work. Yeah.
Man.
That's the real work.
This is the work. The platform is the work because we're bringing youth up here to voice their opinions and how they feel, right? The work is not the problem for those that do it. The problem is for those that don't do it. And the problem is for those who can create a space where where the solutions can execute the solutions. Mm-hmm. They just choose not to. Not all, but just some. They choose not to.
Most of it is it's a lot of bad timing with politics. You know what I mean?
For me personally, as someone who ran for office, as someone who has worked for an amazing elected official, I just genuinely believe that instead of pushing the narrative of what they need to do, you need to vote. You gotta vote. Explain to them how it affects them once they become 18 or older, but personalize it to where they understand it. Not saying it in general or saying a whole bunch of stuff that go over their heads, but what do you want to do? I want to open up a barbershop. Okay, well, let me explain to you. If this person gets elected, this is what they believe in. If this person, taxes, tax brackets, tax cuts.
I mean, that's got something to do with the consequences of opening up a shop. I mean, them open up a shop, as long as they still able to open up one, they'll figure it out.
No.
Like if it's a politician that's stopping them from opening up something.
No. But that's what I'm saying. We can't. I don't want to put them in a position where it's like
in the district or wherever they want to, based on the politician.
I don't right.
But they still be as long as they still able to open one. I don't think.
But that's local.
But them learning business that's something they have to do based on. Would depend on what field they pick.
They're going to learn the business, but the politics still affects it. If there's certain tax cuts and certain things for LLCs, that's national politics. If it's licenses and permits, that's local politics. So either way, depending on what they want to do, they still need to be made aware of these things so they can have an understanding. And then they can go in saying, well, maybe I do want to do it or maybe I don't. Even if they go to college. It's still stuff going on national as far as politics that affect them too. Either way, they need to be informed. I am saying that I'm not sitting here saying they should or shouldn't. No, because at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do.
Because something that we didn't talk about that directly affects them is school.
It's school. That part. While they're still in school. So I just feel like they need to be more informed. Like, if anything, local politics, absolutely. Like, I know firsthand that how it affects you.
Yeah, and that on the national level, they was talking school reform or something like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But we have to inform them more, especially on the local politics. Vaughn says the work is harder when the wrong people in. So politics and who gets elected matters. Exactly. Zay Tashay said, I agree, both sides be lying, but I encourage everybody to do research. There was plenty of stuff Obama tried to do, but got shot down. And she says, everybody please go vote. Vaughn says, yes, politicians definitely put barriers on people opening businesses. I have to help people all the time with zoning and hearings because they are getting opposed or not supported. So again, it goes back to more so informing them. Just give them the information. Whatever they choose to do is up to them. But you can't say that you didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. That if someone would have told me the things that we're talking about now at 18, I probably still wouldn't have voted, but at least I knew what was going on. That way, by the time I did, when I became 20 or 21 and I wanted to vote and I actually went and voted, I did it not because this is what my family do or somebody else said you should, but because I understand how it impacts me directly.
If I'd have knew at a young age that a politician was...
After drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler Digi Meach. We are live and direct at the American Family Insurance in the beautiful 3rd Street Market, downtown Milwaukee. It's Monday. Meach, what's the word?
These kids don't care.
Meach said the youth do not care about politics.
These kids do not care about that
I
stuff.
believe that they care, but they don't care enough to voice their opinions.
They know about everything. They don't care.
Some don't care because I've sat down with plenty of youth.
Okay, those kids care.
That's why I said some, not all. Some don't care. Some don't care. And who's at fault?
They'll be out here trying to get you to vote if they cared that much.
No. No, because again, if they don't have just because it's like if we was in a relationship, right, and you did something I didn't like, or you're going to do something to affect me, I care about that. But I may not want to voice my opinion depending on if you're going to be receptive to what I have to say. If you haven't allowed me to speak my mind thus far, it don't mean I don't care. It just means you're not giving me an outlet for me to be able to voice how I feel.
You're not going to care about the consequences of that situation or nothing because you don't have an opinion. You're not part of the outcome.
So let me ask you this. If it's up to the next generation to vote and to, make decisions and they don't care, what's next? What is the alternative of them not voting?
I don't know. It's got to be something else. I mean, it's something they coming up with. They creating the world that we don't even know what we're gonna be in.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The world we in now, my mama they didn't know that we was gonna be in this world. Us as a generation created this atmosphere for them.
Yeah.
This social media world.
But that's the thing. We need to know because you better believe the other side has known for hundreds of years whatever their plan is. We need to know and if we don't know, we need to be working with them so that we can know.
Look at it like this. If all the kids start streaming, who watching?
Nobody. Adults. Not no kids because they are
if they start streaming, then that's the new world we'll be living in. Cameras everywhere already. If we constantly recording ourselves, if they constantly recording themselves all day, 24/7 stream, then where's the privacy? Where's the then is they always moving through the chat line? Is they always everybody in that world all on the same page?
Facts.
Without us.
I'm just eager to see what a world will know where the youth don't vote.
You still don't know what W's in the chat mean. You know what I mean? Like what the W for? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you mean to tell me 10 years from now you will be able to understand what they really got going on? Basically, you know what I mean? Like the kids ain't gonna really. They gonna figure it out on their own if we don't.
They are,
help them.
But we still have to. This is we're responsible because we're the adults now.
It's either we trying to put it in place to where they helping us in the future, But it got to be the other way around. We got to start doing it to where we helping them.
This is right. We have to help them, but we have to help them do it their way. I feel like the problem with politics in general is they want to keep the same system and the same way of system going ongoing.
It's like when you get, like we had it when we voted. When I was 20-something, I wasn't voting for what I got going on now.
Yeah. And you know what? To your point, Meach, back then in the 90s, black people loved the Clintons. If I was an adult, I would never vote for them based off the stuff that I know.
I mean, I didn't get to vote for them.
But nobody would. That's what I'm saying. Based off the stuff I know as an adult, if I was an adult back then, or even me being a child, I just knew that black people loved the Clintons. And everybody knew that. I mean, you see, even when they come on the news, you knew who they were. Even though you weren't a child, you still knew who your president was, and you still knew that your family supported your president.
I knew what was going on in the culture with the Clintons.
I bet you did. I bet you did, Meach.
But like I said, like that, like what they went through didn't affect. They ain't got nothing to do with what we got going on now. Like me voting for Obama then.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't doing none of the stuff I'm doing now to vote on the stuff that I was voting for. You know what I'm saying?
So how do we move the youth forward to where they can do it? So I guess the real question is, how do we prompt the conversation of, do y'all even want to vote? And if not, what does that look like?
If we finna vote for gas prices when everything might be electric?
Come on, let's talk about it.
We're gonna keep voting for. We're gonna keep doing that, and we're gonna keep putting these kids in that situation to where
instead of prepping them to
gas is our issue, and they ain't never paid for gas.
Instead of prepping them to make enough to pay for the gas.
My son, I knew how to pump gas. Like he know how to pump gas. I'm teaching him, but it's like that's not nothing he gonna be trying to do when he get 30, 40 years old. Gas is gonna be the last thing on his mind.
Now, I'm gonna challenge you on this. Our children, whether they care or not, they will listen if we instill certain things in them.
Yeah. But I'm saying I'm trying to set my son up for the future.
To be prepared.
If I'm raising the issue of a gas price now,
mm-hmm.
when he in 30 years from now,
it's
he
not
gonna be worried
him.
about gas prices?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, and that's the thing. You don't
based on how's it going, because my pops them when they was my age wasn't worried about gas prices.
Yeah, but back then it was different. So now the thing I would say to that, I understand what you're saying, but the thing I would say to that is, even though it affects adults more, we still have to transport the children. We still have, so it still affects us. So now, maybe explaining to them how it affects us now. Like, this may not be the situation by the time you're old enough to drive, but use it as an example so that by the time they become adults, then they understand how to maneuver. But right now, this is what mama going through, this is what daddy going through, and I'm going to break it down so you can fully understand why things are the way that they are. And then let them make that decision on which way that they want to go. I just believe that doesn't matter. Yes, I feel like local elections matter just as much, if not more. And I also feel like the youth are not interested because they don't have a voice and they can't never do stuff their way.
I mean, on the local level, you got to show us that it matters. You got to show us. I mean, I know just based on doing the work and stuff like that, what it affects and being this age, but in the streets, you got to show it. You got to show that it matters. They not seeing nothing from their labor waiting in that line. They not seeing nothing. These people not seeing none of that.
I feel like the streets do know it matter because they
know it matter, but you can't name one thing where they seeing they not seeing the effects.
There's
of them
a lot
voting.
of guys from the streets who are successful businessmen. There are a lot of street cats who came from the streets who are successful businessmen.
That's the effects of them. Them same people didn't vote.
No, they did. They do.
No.
They do. Once you become the game of politics is once you become
you don't have to.
Once you become a business owner,
you don't have to vote.
You don't. But what I'm saying is they do because they want they want that elected official that who district their business is in to approve stuff, so they're going to support the campaigns. They're going to go out there and vote.
I mean, I can understand that, but they didn't.
They did.
I don't think so.
They did.
I mean, professional business owners as a whole, are regular people too. So they, people are voting. But the people we talking about, them guys ain't gonna vote.
So Manon on point. Thank you for listening, Manon. He just gave me a fact that I didn't know. In the 1970s.
You're your researcher.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl, Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct. We are talking. What we talking, Meach?
Do the kids care about politics? I think they don't.
The poll says, what the poll say, Zach?
It's still 0%. I ended it.
Yeah, 0.
They don't care?
0.
So, do you think that we have some very important elections coming up in Wisconsin?
Yeah, we do.
With our first black potential governor, DC. Shout out to David Crowley. We have Katelyn Haywood, the second, who is running as well, and I'm sure there's others, but the governor seat is extremely important. So, what do you think?
Evers, though. See. You know what I'm saying? Evers was pulling triggers on with energy. He was pulling trigger a couple things. He was
getting his stuff off.
He was our money back. You know what I mean? A couple dollars
He
back.
said he wasn't playing no games.
You know what I mean? He wasn't really costing us too much, and when he was doing what was right.
So, do you think that with the elections coming up, as it pertains to having the first black governor in the state of Wisconsin, someone who actually is in the community, someone who has been around, do you think it's important for us to push the envelope when it comes to getting the youth on board?
Said who I think?
I said, do you think it's important for the governor election for the state of Wisconsin to have the youth involved?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely got to have. I mean, just because Milwaukee is the biggest city.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's our main.
Yep.
Talking
bread and butter.
You know what I mean? Right now,
yeah.
Like that's the thing that's causing a lot of headaches. Trying to figure out what's going on with the youth. So I mean, just to have them involved or have a slight plan.
Yeah.
Or the new governor come in and just really tackle that. Have that be one of the main issues, not the focal point of his campaign, but having that, that you. You see some kids in the campaign ad or something like that, and it'll make you believe like, okay,
yeah.
But it's more so like literally having kids involved in this campaign, having them give the information.
Yes, having them
to
run
the kids, having them pretty much inform themselves on this.
And it's a great educational opportunity too, because he is currently the county exec, which is over the parks, which is where the teen takeovers are.
Yeah.
There's so many different roles that the county play a part in as it pertains to the youth. So again, I think that would be a very great opportunity to educate them. But then also, like you said, get them involved. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe DC was a part of, I don't know if he was a part of Urban Underground back in the day, but I think he was, which was, they were heavy on voters information for the youth. Yeah. Got to see what that look like. They got to be involved.
I don't think they care. The kids don't care about that, though.
They got to be involved.
They don't care about
it. And if they don't care, then nobody's talking to them. Who's talking to them about it?
In a sense, I'm playing devil's advocate, too, because, if they don't care, then what? Like,
what's going to happen?
You want them to care.
Yeah, do something.
Make them care.
Yeah, yep.
Make them care.
Facts.
And then if they care, what are we doing for them to make an impact? Or if we giving them a real voice? Like, a vote is not a voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, having changing the age group to vote, like, that's showing that we don't have enough. If you got to change the age group, Lord, to get more votes, that means you don't have enough people voting.
So where do we start? So what's next? We got elections coming up.
They doing a whole bunch of stuff to stop people from getting their votes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So how do we go about encouraging those who feel discouraged? And the reason why I say that is because they've thought of everything. Bring this rapper, do this, have this event, right?
I could be a discouraged voter, and it's like, because I just feel like I done voted 4 times, and or you vote every other year for the local thing, and it's still like I said, for a black man, ain't nothing happening for me. Like that on the difference of a vote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still got to do the same thing I've been doing since I became an adult. Fight for being a black man.
And
that's number one. Everything else is comes after that.
Talk to him.
And I might not even get to do that because I'm still fighting in the next door for be a black man.
So do you think the youth feel that way, or how do you think they feel?
They got to. They got to feel the same way to me. That's how. I mean, I'm black. I've been black my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Change the way I view things. Then.
Mm-hmm.
Why it's a reason why I'm viewing it, because this is what's been going on for me.
Yeah.
I done lived a good life though. You know, I done made things fun, and I done made money and stuff like so. That's.
But it wasn't off the back of a vote.
It wasn't off of a vote. Ain't a vote. Ain't a politician. Ain't a law. Do nothing for me but put me in jail.
So that is, man.
Ain't not a law help me. I can't point to no law say that's for, I could ride with that. Nothing.
And that's majority of. I assume that's majority
every
of how
black man I know,
and especially in Milwaukee.
That's why a lot of men I know is out here fighting for stuff because they ain't got no other choice.
Yeah.
Other than that, ain't not a law in the book can help me. Is putting me in jail. That's what I think. That's what I know. I could read it 4-5 times.
Yeah.
It's a swindle. The loophole is to put me in jail.
I will say this to any youth listening. You're going to ultimately be the one to decide what you want to do as it pertains to voting. If you want to vote, if you don't, who you want to vote for. But I would encourage you to at least educate yourself and vote locally, where it impacts not just you, but your family directly. And if you don't understand what that looks like, ask someone. Find someone around you and ask them. And if you are an adult, take the time out to educate them on how local politics affect them, because it does.
Yeah, I know voting affects a lot of people, but as a black man, it haven't done a thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, and I done been part of a lot of campaigns and stuff like that for good causes, and it's just like, I can't point to nothing on a ballot, nothing, not even the marijuana.
Yeah.
I can't point to that because it's still going to be somewhere I go.
And then majority of our black men and black women have been incarcerated or to some degree affected to where they can't vote and they have to get their rights back anyway. So and that's a whole nother topic, because that happens a lot too. As long as they throw that book at you, you ain't gonna be able to vote.
Yeah, I'm smart enough. Like I said, I done seen stuff. I done raised issues that done been good for society, good for black men.
So, do you think that the system, the government overall, has put us in a position to where they condition this generation to be the way that they are, so that they can purposely not give a about voting? Not that that's not the only thing, but when you look at it, that's how it seems.
Like you do all that and then they just able to just sign executive order or just do what and then he ain't go to jail.
Yeah.
When we thinking somebody finna go to jail, or the Supreme Court finna do their thing.
That's a fact. Brandon Stewart, shout out to the chat. Brandon Stewart said kids should be taught the struggle that our people had to go through in order to even get to the right to vote. That may motivate some of them to participate, even if it's out of homage.
Man, look, I can't tell no black boy, not me. I can't influence him to vote. We try all the time, but it's so hard because he see the struggle that the rest of the men go through. Yeah. Really, if we want to talk barbershop talk, when the kids get their hair cut, that's what we talk about.
Shout out to Madi. Madi said governor will not show favoritism to black people. By design, the north side is pushing black people out like all metro cities.
Hey.
Alfonso said black people need to start teaching their kids about credit, voting, being voting and being a God-fearing person, helping your community. And Babar says system has to get the crooks out, which is basically the whole dang thing. And that goes Babar, to your point earlier.
You don't know
what
not
we
a
was
black
talking
person
about.
that unrepresented credit.
The the political game is gangster.
Yeah.
The only difference is they call it corruption, and in the streets it's criminal activity. Corruption means you get a high paid lawyer, slap on the wrist. Criminal means you get fed time.
Mm-hmm.
But they all gangsters. Not all politicians, but politics is the most gangster party. Talk about a real gangster party. Politics.
Yeah, but
straight up.
I can't think of a better way to explain that. Like a young black boy really can't get influenced to vote. No. I didn't get influenced to vote. I was made to vote. Like somebody made me vote because it's just like you listen to that. Like, yeah, you think if you don't vote, this will happen. It didn't happen.
I do think it could change if one of their peers.
I voted and it still happened.
If one of their peers or somebody, so this is the thing, this is the opportunity too, because we got to look at it both sides. If one of their peers who was thriving in school, straight A student, going to college, all this stuff, if they really, whether they was in the streets or not, if they really rallied behind them and pushed them to run for office and they all voted and they won, I think then they would care, because then they feel like they have a decision and a say so. But they don't know to do that because nobody is telling them to do it.
I'm like 1 for 6 in votes right now.
And
you know what I mean? Like
I
one of my votes went through.
And to be honest, when you look at K2, Katelyn Haywood II, Katelyn came out at 18 years old. And he's a youth, but he's also somebody who is reachable. He is somebody who is tangible, somebody that if you call, he'll call you back. He'll pull up. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some elected officials that we put into office that we see that we put into office. But if the youth don't know these stories or they don't understand it, then they're not going to. At the end of the day, let's be clear. As a revolutionary, I wholeheartedly understand the system, especially the government system, right? But I also understand local politics. And as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as someone in my community, I would be foolish to say that politics don't matter on a local level, because they do. I would not have been as successful had there not been certain elected officials in office who pick up the phone when my grandma on 14th of Burleigh, something going on at her house, or if I have a question about a permit, or if a license or anything, right? Like, and then there's other elected officials who sit on there who will purposely try and stop you. So to that point, you do need to understand local politics, and you do need to have those relationships.
Because it's still too much power given to the idea of a politician in a sense, like
absolutely,
or even an elected official.
Absolutely.
Like, you think just because they elected, they could do this and do that on the drop of a dime, and it's like, no,
they can't.
They just an overseer of what they, you know what I mean? That's like a building manager almost. Like, you still got the building manager, and he's not the owner. And
you know what? I love that you said that, because it reminds me of dealing with like the city, DCD, different things.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these are just,
you still have to go to those departments and put.
These are just managers. These are just.
They're fighting on your behalf.
They don't own.
That's it.
They don't own the land.
They fighting on your behalf.
Yeah.
They fighting on your behalf.
And a million other people.
We need a spokesman. We need a representative who can go back to this party and this room on this board.
No, you need a representative to go back to the people.
But I will be like, I can't sit here and say whether they're elected officials or, the street elected officials, the street politicians. Everybody has to elect somebody to represent the people. You understand?
We believe in the street politicians more than the real politicians.
I'm just saying. Well, it seems like the street politicians got their stuff together a little bit more.
I mean, at least they can talk to us how we think we do. At least they can get
other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
101.7 The Truth, is your girl Jazz Tyler. We are live and direct at the American Family Insurance Studio in 3rd Street Market, beautiful downtown Milwaukee.
What's the
it's
word?
A Monday, Meach. Yes, indeed.
Vaughn said, I'm definitely a street politician, because generally people come to me to to be their representation and voice in the actual political realm. We definitely need more solid people playing that role.
Absolutely. That's right, Vaughn. Like, before we went to break, I feel like a lot of street politicians do a better job than the real politicians.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of elected officials. So, do you think there's a difference between an elected official and a politician? When I think of politicians,
the difference is that he won. And a politician, if you just a politician, you ain't won nothing. You ain't won nothing. You ain't elected official yet.
Every time I think of a Milwaukee politician, except for literally maybe like 2, I think of Lorenz Tate off of Power. Like, I feel like
been bamboozled.
What's up, young brother? You got my money? Like that. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. We talking politics.
Do kids care about politics, Z?
Nope.
That's what you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. How old is you, Z?
28.
There you go.
Yeah. I beg to differ. I think they care. I just don't think they care to voice their opinions because no one ever listens to them. I've sat at work and listened and had to edit these kids' podcasts. Remind you, I have 80 students.
See, but you in that school setting.
Nope.
Still in the school
Because I know you was finna say that. Hold on, no. Let me make this clear. They don't have to talk about any of that.
But you still in the school setting.
But wait. So Notes for Notes is in the school setting, but we're still our own entity because even when they make music, they can cuss to a certain degree, right? We let them express themselves. But their topics, they can talk about whatever they want. Relationships, school, whatever they want, as long as it's not inappropriate, right? These kids, the youth, they be real life sitting down. I'm talking youth that you wouldn't even think. Not the A students, the B students, but like me and you. They sit down in real life, be having these conversations, and they have them like adults. It be so funny because it's not politically correct. They sit there and talk like how they would on a game or in a basketball game, but about politics.
But look, I done had the same conversation with folks. Say if I had the same conversation with folk drug dealers, that don't mean they care.
No, it does. To me, I'm gonna tell you why, as an educator, why I feel like they do care. Because if I say y'all can talk about relationships, clock it. That's all our kids do. Y'all can talk about whatever y'all want, but they still choose to talk about politics
at that point in time. Yeah.
At that point in time, but then you say, okay, let's start a debate team or we want you. Then they not going to do it. They not going to do it because they don't want to voice it. They don't feel like they can voice it. It's not that they don't care. It's just like who going to listen.
It's really because they ain't going to be able to talk about it how they
want to talk about it.
Because if I didn't want to go to the debate team because here we go.
Yeah.
Here I got to go say these big old words, put on this suit, talk about the stuff how they want me to talk about it. And the way I want to talk about politics ain't that way. It's
like that guy on Instagram. I love watching him. The way he be breaking down the Bible stories, but he do it in a way, like in a hood way. It's the funniest. I feel like there has to be.
That's a good question. Babar just asked in the chat. What is politically correct?
Anything going isn't even correct. That's a fact. So when we say politically correct, it's just a figure of speech of someone.
I hate being politically correct.
Someone who's just so played by the book.
I hate being
24/7.
I hate being in politically correct conversations.
Yes.
I hate being around politically correct people.
Yes.
I hate politically correct responses.
Yes.
Because it's like that ain't where I guess what we grew up in wasn't politically correct.
It's not politically correct.
You can say whatever you want to say.
There are a lot of politically correct people. Going back to our point at the beginning of the show,
you got to talk about it a certain way.
The sports.
Yeah.
Because it's the bag. They don't want to lose their bag.
You gotta say it this way because that's where the money coming from.
That's right.
You'll lose yours.
And some. You know what I mean?
I will.
Where
the morals and values at?
Yeah. Where's the standards? What you standing on?
Yeah. Who raised you?
What you standing on? Alfonso Madi said, "Black communities suffering at the hands of the vote sellers."
Who you vote for?
So what we do? What do we do? You know, we've talked this segment about the youth, about them not caring about voting or possibly caring but not having a voice, how it affects them, all of these things. with elections coming up in Wisconsin, what do you think needs to happen in order to get the youth on board to pay attention, even if they don't vote, but just pay attention to the politics and the state of the politics in Wisconsin right now? What do we need to do? Nothing.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
That's what's going on. I mean, we talking now, but just like in politics, it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of decisions get made. But in our community, it'd be a lot of talking, a lot of watching people make decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we scared. I use that word on our community a lot because it's like, you know, like.
Yeah, because everybody.
In the 60s and 70s, they wasn't scared.
Yeah.
They wasn't scared to take the chance and make,
get out there.
Yeah. Like we wait till something happen to protest for it.
Ambulance chasing?
Yeah, we wait till somebody get killed to protest for it.
Yep.
Instead of being out there today.
Doing what needs to be done.
You don't see nobody out there today. It was raining this morning. You don't see nobody out there.
Doing what needs to be done.
Well, nobody doing nothing. So, I mean, everybody in the office having Zoom meetings trying to make something happen. Like I told you when we first got on the show, like, I've been in a whole bunch of gun violence meetings for the last 2 years. Ain't not a dollar been spent. That's why I'm on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you, Meach. I feel you.
Come on now.
I feel you.
Because if they were spending money, we'd be out there affecting them kids.
And to your point, again, well, let's see what happens during this, you know, the next few months.
I know.
You know what I mean? As we get closer to that day.
I'm going to still play pop pressure.
No. I know. I'm just saying. Mild the Elephant says, F money, we die and leave it behind. Education needs to be prioritized. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think it'll be so dope to have a debate team with the youth and they can talk how they want to about politics. Let them talk. Let them say.
I think it's just
let them
way
express
more serious.
it.
They just keep going over the same topics, though.
They don't have to. It's not about them going over the same
Let's
topics.
talk education.
But I'm saying, no, I'm saying
it's too
like
serious. These kids will kill each other.
No, it's not. Meach, listen to me. The youth that even be in the streets be in these schools too.
No, I know.
And they understand in their minds that they're just a number. Mm-hmm. Like literally, they understand the politics of the school and how they feel. They don't have a lot of people to go and vent to and say certain things. But I do think that if we get the conversation started with youth and allow them to say it the way that they want to say it without having to be proper or, you know, politically correct, I think that it will make a difference to a certain, even like, again, it's not a matter of forcing them to go and vote because they're going to do whatever they want to, especially once they turn 18. If you try to force something on them, they bound to do the opposite just because you keep pressing the issue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at least let them feel like they have a voice, like nobody ever asks.
Well, our culture be on that, though. Like, you keep saying something, I'm just going to just say, forget it.
Like, that is our culture.
Keep pressing me.
Yeah,
like,
stop sweating me. Yeah.
No, I ain't going. We ain't going to the store now.
Yeah. That's all. What you say? That's only us.
Yeah. Like, why we do that? Like, you want to be president so
ask
bad?
Me again.
You want me to do this so bad?
Next time you ask me, it's a no-go.
No.
It's a no-go. Mother Elephant says, here's the thing about the youth. They don't know how to debate. To them, debate is about being right. I mean, whether they know or not, it's just a matter of having a platform or some space that allows them to. They can learn during the process, but they don't even have the space to have a voice. You know what I'm saying? And then that the lack of confidence when it comes to them being able to speak about stuff like this because they don't use politically correct terms and all of that kind of stuff. This is why they don't engage.
Where's PBS when you need it? You know what I mean? Like, where's PBS?
And Marty said they doing something, Meach, lying and rolling blood.
To local resources for housing support and where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler Digi Meach. We are live and direct. Meach, you got a question for me?
What's the word?
What's the word?
Yeah.
What's the question?
I'm looking. I got plenty of questions. You know me.
Shout out to the chat. Vaughn says, we need our own institutions. This building we have the opportunity to activate is a start. A true community and youth-centered safe space. Question will be, will people do what is needed to build and expand? To your point, Vaughn, I agree. And just to kind of bring it back up for those who are just now joining us, we mentioned earlier that after 4 years of the ongoing lock-ins, myself and Vaughn, shout out to Ray Nitty, we finally have our own space, not just to do the lock-ins, but to run programming, trades, all types of things. And to Vaughn's point, this is a great opportunity. I mean, it's an old school. It has 6 classrooms, a gym, all types of stuff. Mm-hmm. So there's more than enough space to activate the youth.
We looked at that space a couple of years ago. We're going to try to turn that space into the Milwaukee Hip Hop Museum.
Stop. Ma the Elephant says, facts, Meach, PBS, and all the programs we grew up on need to be brought back, not baddies and destructive programs. Alfonso Madi said, stop judging our youth and teach them grown people don't know it all. We should not tell our kids, we should not feel like our kids are leaders and parents that did to us, feel us on all levels. I understand what you're saying, Madi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do kids care about politics? 833-212-1017. Like and share 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Reach us, teach us, love us all.
Each
one, reach one, teach one.
I try to. Every chance I get.
Yeah.
Come across some kids that all this be the only thing come on my mind. Like dang, we gotta get these kids together.
I feel you. I do. As a mother, as someone in the community.
Because I'll be walking in the hood a lot.
Yeah.
To the stores and stuff like that. So I come across, at the gas stations.
Yeah.
It just be like the sense I get. Of course, during the season, that's what's going on. That's the topic of the day in the sense for them. So, they see, people putting on their buttons. They either going to the elections and thing with their parents. They got to wait in line with their parents or whatever if they're unable to vote.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they close to the age, they want to be a part of it because they don't want to feel left out. So,
that's a fact.
So I think that's where the awareness comes from. But trying to teach politics to kids that's really on like today's level of social media and today's level of just, like we said earlier, like they pretty much eating off the government in a sense with the scamming, what I mean? So they really could.
They said we gonna get it how we live.
Yeah, they
y'all
really
ain't rocking
could
with
care
us.
less if it's, when it's doing bad, they winning. You know what I mean? So they could care less if they could care less if you want to fix it or not. You know what I mean? Like they thriving off the bad of the government. So.
And you know what, Meach? I just want to say thank you for, really, really giving us a real raw insight. On, just like the state of black men and their thoughts because of the things you guys have been through when it comes to voting. It's real. Whether people want to hear it or not, this is, how they say, is that Milwaukee and this Milwaukee? That's our Milwaukee.
It's this vote and that vote.
Yeah.
I mean, if black men could call and chime in and get a point of view, but I don't think I'm just speaking because I am a black man and most of the time our views be the same. We kind of agree on stuff like this because we all experiencing the same thing without even trying to.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we all black men all understand that we experiencing the same thing, the same. The same resentment towards everything. So it's just what it is.
Well, since we are speaking about the youth, I want to reintroduce this song by Torian G, a.k.a. Deuce, Count Me Out, featuring Lynn and Zakira. I feel like this is a song that came from adversity that was written by the youth, and it goes to how they feel. Let's check it out.
I did my time and it just made me think about just how I want my life, reality from a dream. I'm done with stuff that slow me down, I stopped sipping the lean. My thoughts way clear when I'm sober, done popping no pinks. They got me tight, I'm trying to be shackled in some Cuban links. Wood to the face, getting my feelings, just thinking of Meach. Won't feel my pain, I live through every single thing that I preach. Talking with this pretty thick girl, toes out on the beach. Like, baby, can I pick your brain? I need to free my mind. Got evil thoughts inside my head, won't let it take my soul. The money fast, my heat took, but these streets cold. Land inside a cell for summertime, gon' have you feeling froze. That was my brother, then he told, now I'm all alone. I told baby, talk to me nice, I see she fixed her tone. Lil' baby bad with back on her, I think I might approach. Ain't nobody ever teach me none, but I'm still rocking coach.
They said I wouldn't make it, want my back against the wall. They keep on calling me out. My voice be the changing when it's time to stand tall. They ain't gon' silence me out. Through the hurt and pain, all the tears and my fears, I can never lose my faith. Better days are on the way. Yeah, they ain't no counting me out, counting me out, counting me out. Counting me out, counting me out, counting me out. Had to figure what the change was, so tired of me losing. Was so ashamed of being beat, now embracing my bruises. Can put my soul in a song while I fell in love with music. It's so hard to gain it all, but so easy to lose it. I watched them call me out until I made them call me in. Born into the struggle with no plan, but was destined to win. We connected back in grade school, but you more than my friend. Ain't got a question if I'm by your side, cause I'm here to the end. I built myself up from the ground, now they calling on me. Since a kid I told myself that I'll make something out of me. Put your mind to it and just do it, ain't got too much to prove. I can give you game, little bro, but it's all on you. They said I wouldn't make it, want my back against the wall. They keep on counting me out. My voice be the changing when it's time to stand.
Shout out to Melinda, Zakira too, and Dev on the beat, man. Shout out to me, you know, I wrote this hook, yeah, I mean. And I arranged the whole song, yeah, I mean.
Okay, now she now chat, now she steady throwing us jabs to where.
Cause I haven't recorded my verse yet.
Throwing us jabs to where we still need a jazz verse.
You know, I really wanted to play this record because I feel like we always, and I say we, don't mean us specifically, Meach, but the adults, we always count the youth out, man. And be thinking they don't knowing what they be knowing, and they do the whole time. It's just they don't have the support. So again, we talked about them not caring to vote and all of this, but what are we going to do to make sure that they do? If that's the route you choose for your child to go, or any youth that you have a relationship with, what are you going to do to make sure that they have the correct knowledge and information? Not a biased opinion based off of what party you choose, or who you vote for or believe
even
in.
What you think be best for them.
For them. Let them do it on their own. Just give them the tools and let them build. That's what needs to happen.
Because I grew up knowing what would have been the best for me, and end up not being, because I end up having my own decisions.
Man, I grew up in a time where, you know, it was different. We grew up in a time where it was different. Where our parents, life was different. So you can babysit, you can do all types of stuff at a young age that you can't do now. You can, like pretty much grow up running a household, having major responsibilities, right? Which then made me believe that I was grown to a certain extent.
I mean, I had a key to the house at probably like 9, 10.
So then it's like, why do I didn't talk to my mom about politics. I just went based off of the conversations I heard her and my aunts having at the table.
I knew who the president was, but I didn't care, didn't care.
Like, I hear everything whatever opinion my grandmother, my aunts, my mom had about politics was how I was able to form my thought about politics.
Right, and then how much ever it means to them.
It's how much it means to me.
Yeah.
It means to me, like, and the way I grew up, it was more local. It wasn't the national politics. It was the local politics. That was because, again, it's the communities. It's the family. It's that district. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that stuff matters. Who run your district dictates how you live, what your community look like.
Talk to him, Jazz.
That's what dictates what your community looks like. So again, to the youth, if you are listening, I know sometimes it may be a little confusing or you don't understand certain things. But one thing's for sure and two things for certain. If you really about your business and when you become an adult and you want to open a business, you better understand these local politics. Otherwise, ain't nobody gonna get no money. Mm-hmm. For real, for real.
Yeah, zoning and everything. They dictate everything.
Madi says, I'm sorry, Ma the Elephant says, to teach one needs to be willing to receive information and process, and if there's any question asked. Here's the thing. When it comes to U.S. politics, there's a difference with federal, state, and local politics. We cannot take over the country when our neighborhood is not right. That part. Madi says, beautiful song. Thank you, Madi. He also says, facts, Jazzy's support system is the love language for the other races to be successful. And the other races, even if they don't rock with each other, they know when to rock with each other. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is, again, like, we're not saying that voting doesn't matter. We're not saying that the politics don't matter because everything is political. What we're saying is the youth don't care. And for those out of the youth that do care, they don't care enough to voice their opinion because y'all don't let them speak up about anything else. So why should they speak up about voting?
I mean, even if okay, let's give them 10 minutes to speak up. Then what? That
part.
We ain't doing none of that.
That part.
Oh, thank you. That was what's the name, and then we going back to the regular scheduled programming. It was an adult programming, so it's based off of who in the position. Like I told you earlier, like if I were to do as a kid like that, the politician I might vote for is he's in this office or whatever, and his decision will be based off his personal own views instead of the people.
Come on now,
I would have never did it.
And they be having pissing contests. A big reason why the state of Wisconsin, the city of Milwaukee, other cities and states too, is because people be real life having pissing contests. Like everything is ego driven and pride driven, and who got the bigger balls? Can we please put that to the side so that we can get the work done? Like for real, because we are and to your point earlier, Meach, if every single youth do not care, that is a huge problem.
And if they do,
it's still a problem because they're not going to say nothing.
10 minutes, let's talk about they care. All right, they care. Kids care about politics.
Then what?
Now what? They care a lot.
Then
they care
what?
more about politics than you.
Then what?
They can't even vote about it.
They can't.
So
they can't, Meach.
If they care more than you do, would it even matter to you because they can't even vote for it?
They can't. So
it wouldn't even matter. So that's why I said
It do matter. No, it does matter.
If they care as much as you do, how can you?
It matters because they still have to be informed because they're eventually going to be an adult.
As you do, or maybe more.
They still can't vote. No, absolutely not. But depending on what it is that they want to do in their life, even if is nothing, they still need to understand the basic knowledge of it. Because that's the way that the country is ran. The world is ran.
It's running as if they don't got. It's running as if kids don't matter.
Mm-hmm. It's like going to school for
they don't care.
The stuff that we take. Some of the stuff we take, even in high school, I was like, I'm not even gonna use this.
Ain't used it since.
But I still have the basic knowledge of it because it's always that one. Something comes up where it's going to test you and you have to know. They just need to know. That's it. Whatever they decide is up to them. I just wholeheartedly believe that they still need to know.
I'm saying they care. They care. All right. 10 minutes of them caring.
10 minutes. If they care, no, they can't vote. But they still are prepared.
That's a harder subject,
they still
ain't
prepared.
it? That's a harder subject.
It is.
If the kids actually care about politics,
then what?
Then what?
They gotta be prepared. For real. They have to be prepared to understand how the world is ran. That's a huge part of why a lot of our generation, like, we got some people who are doing some amazing things, but at the same time, we was winging a lot of stuff, man. We wasn't really giving information like that. And then think about if we really went into the world as adults knowing how stuff was ran, how many decisions would we have made that would have been different?
I mean, growing up, though, we cared a lot in our generation.
Yeah, we did.
We had to because it was more so like...
It was in our face.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it was on us.
That's a fact. But see, we come from a different generation too, our parents. So honestly, is it safe to say that we're responsible for the youth not understanding politics right now?
Because my parents probably right now they probably worried about one or two things. You know, maybe their house, maybe the health care.
Yeah.
They not taxes and went up and all that. They not really worried about taxes. They gonna pay them regardless of what the price is. It's just more so like I think they not, the older generation ain't really too much worried about as many issues as they was back then. And like right now, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's the issue now for us, our generation?
Well, see, that's what we have to sit down and determine. Do not touch that dial. We will be back.
Read.org today.
101.7 The Truth. It's your girl Jazz Tyler and Digi Meach. We are live and direct at the American Family Insurance Studio in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. We talking youth and politics.
The word, everybody.
Shout out to the chat. Mom's in the chat, Meach.
Hey, Mom. Hi, Mom. I'm on TV. I'm on the radio.
Look up, Barlin. Say cheese.
Yeah.
What your mom say, Meach?
Teaching children about the organization. Oh, Felicia said, teaching children about the organizations of the government influences education, health, economic policies that will affect them in their personal and professional lives.
Madi says, Jazzy facts. At the end of the day, voting matters. And Ma the Elephant says that is every U.S. citizen these days.
Okay, so like I said, our generation. Do our generation care?
Our generation? I think we were brought up to care. But to your point.
What's the views that we really concerned about going into the next election?
So, nationally or locally?
Locally, nationally.
So,
what's number one on the list?
For me, I'm not going to say what's number one on the list, but for me, locally, some of the things that I've been noticing is that Black women in particular, really Black people, but the Black women on a common council have been removed from certain boards and commissions.
Still that positions have changed.
Exactly, which affects us as a people and the businesses and things of that nature that we're trying to establish. It affects us. Who sits on what board on the common council directly affects us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the whole thing of not having no Black people in there, that's probably my number one issue.
Make it make sense.
I mean, like, that's probably the whole thing. Like, everybody should be represented however you want to splice it. Mm-hmm. How your representation piece is going into every race, but for us not to have a seat or people trying to remove seats.
What bothers me is certain elected officials going up against or trying to, quote unquote, blast Black men who are elected officials by saying that they're aggressive or that they're approaching them aggressive. Like, come on, man. These are things that have gotten people killed in this country. Mm-hmm. All because of what? A resolution? There's a lot of stuff happening that affects us, and I feel like
what's the issue we voted for, though?
Some people, it depends on the person. It depends on where you live at.
See, but to me, it's like, at this point, we how long is it going to take us to figure this out?
Based off of the state of address that the mayor has given, it seems as if the main issue in the city of Milwaukee right now is housing. And I believe that the inflation is insane. You can go to Georgia and get a good quality two bed, two bath house or apartment for the same price.
We put it under inflation and everything. Food, houses, cars, gas.
The same price.
If we put it just under inflation, I'm cool with that. Let's roll with the inflation issue. I'll vote for that.
The same price that you're going to get a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, green bathroom, yellow bathroom.
Carpet in the bathroom.
Wood walls, right, for the same price. So inflation, homelessness, the mental health facility closed and downsized when they reopen.
Pretty much the access to our community.
Man.
Whatever we need, whatever we want.
Man.
Forget it. We want access to it all. But that's why I was telling you, like, look, why are we waiting on the election?
Let's get up and do it now.
They went and took the election last time. We finna wait on it, huh? We finna wait for them to do it again. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm with the kids. I don't care.
Meach say he with the.
I'm with the kids.
He's with the youth.
I'm with the kids.
Marty says the war among us needs to stop. That's right.
The revolution will be
televised.
You know,
not
I'll be with
televised. You
I'm
understand?
with the kids. And rather, however it go down, I'm gonna be with them.
Yeah, because the revolution was always led by the youth.
Yeah, I mean, because we got here based on our generation.
Absolutely. But I will say this: our generation.
Oh, cold.
We have to.
We cold.
We have to realize, and we do know that we're adults, but I don't think it'll hit us yet that we are.
We still cold.
We have a responsibility.
We still in that mode.
We have a responsibility.
No, I think our generation has done its thing.
No, to a certain no.
You don't think so?
To a certain degree. No, I think that
early on.
I feel like we did our thing as far as we're always there for the youth, but we got to step it up. And the reason I say that is because we 80s babies.
No, I'm saying early on and us getting
a lot of us
getting to the age we at now, like our late 20s, we did a lot of work
for
this country.
But we still had to learn.
Like even like getting this to this point with the social media, like this socializing, like that's our work.
But
we kind of messed it up.
We got to go fix it. We gotta fix it now. So if you are between the ages of 35 to 45, oh baby, we got some work to do.
It's probably 32.
32 to 40. Yeah, I give that because of that makes sense. But also realize too that the past 10 years, a huge amount of people who are a part of the mass incarceration piece have been released, which is the first time that all of our generations have been able to communicate. So we need to take advantage of that. Like we really, really, really need to start lining up different generations and having these private conversations. I can't stress enough how important that is.
That's what I'm saying. Is they still gonna be conversations at this point? Is we still about conversation? We still about talking? Like,
no, it is gonna be conversations. But the reason why I say that is because if you take an OG and you take the new generation, they're not gonna listen because too much translations was lost in between, which is where we come in at. It has to be middlemen. The message has to continue to be passed down that it has always worked that way with our ancestors. We're not doing that. Nobody is listening to the elders. Nobody is listening to nobody. Everybody's just doing what they want. If you ride around the city, you can look and see. Growing up on Burleigh, we went on 13th, 15th, but we went on 46th and Hampton. We stayed in our hoods. These kids is everywhere. They don't even have neighborhoods no more. They're just scattered out. And so is the information. There you go. Thank you, Zach.